Okay, cases. Unless you're building inside a pizza box, you probably need a PC case. Now, if you might be due to upgrade, it might be a new build, whatever the deal is, case is pretty important. Keeps all your stuff, everything together, so you have a place to put it all. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of budget options, or what should have been a couple of budget options. Anyway. Okay, so we're taking a look at a couple of budget cases, or what ended up becoming more of a budget case when they went on sale. One of these, the pink one that we're going to show, was actually on Newegg's website for like a 72-hour sale. It was marked down from its normal $89, I believe it is, that you can still find on Newegg Business. It was marked down to $44, so I went ahead and took the chance and got it. We'll talk about it in just a second. The other one is an Antec case that I found for, I believe it was $69, had a coupon for $15, 15% off, and so I went ahead and got that. So both of them were reduced. One of them for $44, one of them for almost $60. It's like $58. And we're going to kind of compare these. We're looking at a few things. We're looking at not necessarily the size, but sort of the aesthetics. We're looking at how easy it is to put stuff inside it. The features on the front panel, the input-output on the front panel, where you might have room to put hard drives or SSDs, fans if there are any, lighting and all that good stuff. So the first one in the pink corner, we've got one that's made by a company called ES Gaming, and it is actually the U10-P500. Now, actually on the website, this just says a mid ATX case. Or it doesn't really say anything at all. It just says it's a mid-tower case. So yeah, I had to actually look a little bit further, and ended up looking at the box to make sure I had whatever model number it was. So both of these came pretty well packed. They have similar input-output on the front I/O or the top front of the case. They both came with an RGB fan, both 120 millimeter, both had RGB on the front of the case in different ways. Both of them had tempered glass side panels. But we're going to talk about a couple of differences. Neither had grommets for the wires pushing through. Neither one of them were particularly a really sturdy build, but they were okay. And it's about what I would expect if I was paying, $50 or so for a case. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the pink one. The pink one is the U10-P500. It is made by a game called ES Gaming, and it not bad when you take the side panel off, but part of the problem taking the side panel off is it doesn't have any standoffs of any type. Once you start to remove that panel, you get the last screw out and it wants to fall out because there's nothing to hold it on. In fact, I was lucky to kind of catch it. And I unfortunately didn't have the camera rolling because, well, I had two hands busy. But anyway, once you do get it open, you find that there is space for hard drives. It's got a basement for the power supply and hard drive cage. There is space for a hard drive down there, a regular spinning disk hard drive. There is space for SSDs. If you've got, say, 2.5-inch SSDs, you could probably put 2.5-inch spinning if you wanted to, but they're more than likely SSDs. There's plenty of room. It already comes with 6 standoffs attached. It's got its hardware included, and it looks like it has a pretty decent amount of room to be able to work with. There are a couple of drawbacks. I did buy this for $44, like I said. The problem with the side panel was one thing. Another problem was that the RGB on the front panel and the fan, it's operated by Molex connector. Now, if you're not familiar with the Molex connector, it's that old school heavy duty connector that had 4 pins and the awkward kind of, it wasn't really any geometric shape. It was just kind of a weird, awkward plug shape. And this case actually was June of 2021 was the first time it was available. Molex connectors kind of went out of fashion about 10 years ago. So that tells you that this, whether it's budget somewhere, I don't know, but this didn't really keep up with the times. And for this being a $90 case retail, the construction would probably say otherwise. It does come with all the mounting hardware. It comes with a sheet to give you basic, instructions on how to install things. So those were all positives. Those were all good. And I'm not saying it's a bad case. With the side panel off, it was actually lighter than the other one. It was heavier getting out of the box, slightly heavier coming out of the box, but it actually ended up feeling a little bit lighter than the other one we're going to take a look at. And it wasn't quite as firm, but like I said, wasn't bad. It's not horrible. On the back, there is some areas you can see where there's some actual like cable routing, and everything was fine. Everything seemed to be pretty easy to get to. There weren't any real issues that I thought I would come into or will think I come into. And I will be using this case for a build. So it's not like I got it, said, oh, no, and I'm totally ditching it. It is something that I'm going to use. The black case, on the other hand, is an Antec NX400. It's been around for just a little bit longer. I believe it was August of 2019 that it was actually first available. Similarly, this one also has an RGB fan in the back. It's a 120 millimeter fan. It does have RGB on the front. The front I/O on the top actually has one additional USB 3.0 Type A connector, the little square or rectangular type connector. Usually you see those with the little blue inserts. So it's got two of the USB 3.0 and it's got a 2.0. Both of these cases do have separate headphone and mic jacks, and both of them do have a separate button so you can change the RGB colors. This one too does come with Molex connectors, but there is also SATA connector and regular plug, the fan plug holder, or the 3-pin plugs for the normal fan headers. So you're not getting quite, or you're getting an extra connector, or it's built in. So you're not having to rely on technology that kind of like was swept away almost a decade ago. That being said, it is a little bit confusing how they've got things wired up. I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out, but there's no clear instruction or anything like that. It does come with all the hardware. It's in a nice little cardboard box that is tucked up underneath the hard drive cage. Does have a separate basement that is actually kind of walled off with a little peek through that you can see where the power supply is, as opposed to just having a shelf where the pink one actually has part of the glass blacked out, so you can't really see into it. This, there's an actual basement type area that is all covered except for the little peek through for the power supply. So that might also have to do with how sturdy it is and making sure that it's a little bit shored up. So in that case, I thought it was a little bit better than the one from ES Gaming, and I really did kind of appreciate the fact that it was kind of closed off. The side glass panel is also darker, so it is a dark colored build instead of the lighter build or the lighter glass with a blacked out bottom that the other one had. And overall, it was pretty easy as well to get through the back and try to look at. But again, no grommets for putting any wires through. Everything on these two cases did look like it was rounded off in the opening, so it didn't look like anything was going to snag. So that I thought was all right, even if they didn't have extra protection there for your cables. Overall, not a bad construction, not a bad design, and does have space on the back as well for additional SSDs. So you've got plenty of flexibility. The one thing I did also like was it has a little dedicated SSD tray that sits on top of the basement for the power supply. So it's very visible there. And of course, some mounting that is available from the front, similar to the way that the pink one was. This one, like I said, I bought for about, I believe it was $58. It was a coupon that was 15% off the normal retail. And I'm pretty happy with it. And I will be building in this one as well. So both of these cases are going to get used. I am going to use both of these cases for different things. There is not as much flexibility with either one of these as far as separate RGB lighting. And I didn't expect there to be because, after all, I was looking for something that was under the $60 price range. So what's my opinion on what to do and which one to go for if I've got a choice between a couple of budget cases? Really, I would say save a little bit more money or put a little bit more of your budget toward a better case. You can get a Phanteks P400 or you can get a Corsair 4000D, much better cases for not that much more. The Phanteks case I think will cost you maybe around $75 or $80. The Corsair case might cost you $95. Keep in mind the regular price on the pink one, the one from ES Gaming, retails for $90. For $5 more, you can get a Corsair 4000D. It's not going to come with an RGB fan, not going to come with an RGB strip on the front, but it is a much better case. For that matter, so is the Phanteks. So I would say that instead of trying to like get a budget case, you might be better off actually budgeting for a case instead. So that's all I got this time, folks. I know it's a little bit off the beaten path, but you know, the case is the first thing you look at when you see the PC. It's not so much as what is in it as much as how it looks. That's one of those things that, you know, as I was talking about before, unless you're building in a pizza box or unless you're doing some kind of custom, you're going to need to get a case somewhere. So you might as well just go ahead and do it right. You're looking at the other PC parts and you're not trying to skimp out on any of those. Well, I mean, you may be depending on your budget, but you know, you're going to get what you pay for. So you might as well go ahead and think about this as well. It's the first thing you see, you know? So if you liked the video or found it helpful, I'd appreciate go ahead and put a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that red button there for me. I am so close to 400, and I can't hit 500 unless I get to 400 first. So that would be quite wonderful if you did that. If you have to dislike the video, go ahead, kind of give me some feedback. Let me know what's going on. Are you looking at cases? Have you bought a good one or a bad one recently? What was your experience like? Go ahead and feel free to leave those in the comments for me. Don't be afraid to visit me on the other socials and that blue box behind me. Yeah, when we're talking about 4-core, 8-thread solutions, and we tested the Ryzen 3100. Yep, that's the next one. We're going to take a look at the 10105F coming up next. So anyway, you might want to stay tuned for that. I think, I hope. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, that's all I have for right now. And so until next time, folks, I'll see you later.